Welcome to the Midnight Dreary, your rest stop on the highway of the unexplained. Pull up a bar stool and grab a drink as we present tonight's episode. And here's your host, Justin Wood.
What is happening? Welcome back, guys, to this week's episode of the Midnight Dreary. I am your host, Justin Wood. Hope you guys had an absolutely wonderful, fulfilling Thanksgiving. We are in the holiday season now. Man, the time this year has just gone by so fast. Do you guys think so? Is there some weird perception of time? Does it change when you get older? I always heard it does, but I don't know the scientific reasoning behind that. If you do, let me know. We've got a lot going on here, though. Want everybody to know I have fired up the YouTube channel. Have uploaded some custom videos, even a few shorts that have been published on the channel. It's the Midnight Dreary 1, as in the number 1, over on YouTube. So if you want to check that out, please do. I will link it in the show notes as well. This episode's going to be fun. We're going to talk about a couple of books that I highly recommend for Christmas. Going to be very off the cuff, not a whole lot of editing on this episode, so bear with me if there are any mistakes in here. But before I get into those books that I want to recommend to all you lovely listeners, has anyone seen the Myakka Skunk Ape? These pictures, this was back in December of 2000. I looked on Reddit and I remember seeing these photos before. It looks like a orangutan behind some palmetto brush down in Florida. This was southwestern Florida. And apparently the pictures came accompanied with a letter. A concerned citizen had been seeing this creature, and from my perspective it looks like an orangutan, behind her house, again, 23 years ago. But the photos are still creepy. I couldn't get much of a resolution if there was ever any developments into this story. And I think in the future, probably near future, we need to go down that Bigfoot, skunk ape, abominable snowman, yeti path. I think there's a lot of fun into all that, but having one so close to home here in the southeastern United States, man, what a great story it is. If you want to go ahead and do a little research on your own, Myakka, and that's Myakka, skunk ape. And the photos are creepy. I think it looks like an orangutan that is pissed off. Maybe someone had a pet down there that they released. You know, in South Florida, isn't that how the pythons got into the Everglades? Pets that were released? So I think that's probably what this guy is. I will do a deeper dive on that. This one's been piquing my curiosity over the past couple of weeks. And wanted to see if you guys had known anything about it. We have listeners all over the country and the world. And I know, depending on where you're at, you may have your own local legend of a skunk ape, a Bigfoot, whatever it may be. If you do, let me know. The midnightdreary@yahoo.com. Would love to hear your local legends, especially on any cryptids that there may be. But any other ghost stories, or if you just want to say, hey, drop me a line. All right, let's migrate into the book scene. Everybody this time of year, you may be buying a present for a husband, wife, cousin, brother, sister, boss, niece, nephew, relative, whoever it may be. And I draw a lot of my inspiration for podcasts, for videos, from the stories that I've read, from books that I'm reading. And I wanted to share with you guys just a couple in my rotation. Again, this is like a fireside chat tonight. Nothing really serious. Just wanted to drop this in because I still love to read. I like the old school paperbacks or a hardback book. I'm not much of a Kindle guy, but most of these have been migrated onto those devices if that's your flavor, your cup of tea. And let's get started. One of my favorite books by Stephen King, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. Love this book because it's a great collection of short stories that he has. Dolan's Cadillac is my absolute favorite in the book, holding it right now. I love Stephen King. I love his books, but if you're like me and you don't have time to invest into a novel like It or The Stand, something that's going to really chapter heavy and going to take quite a long time to finish, want to still get your Stephen King fix through a maze of short stories. Nightmares and Dreamscapes. I can't talk. See, and we're not editing that out. So Nightmares and Dreamscapes, fantastic. You can get the paperback on Amazon, $16.96 new. Looks like they have a couple of used options for $10. If you're an audiobook guy, they've got it for $6. Kindle at $12. But first recommendation for you, Stephen King's Nightmares and Dreamscapes. I have to include this one. This one would be good for kids. You know what? It's still pretty scary for kids. It was scary as hell when I was a kid. They made a movie recently about it. I think it was originally a banned book. Tell me if it was or not. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. It says book sets for kids grade 3 and up. So third graders and up. I don't know if it'd be suitable for third graders. It would be. It would scare the hell out of them. Perfect 5 stars on Amazon at a 17,000 ratings. You get the whole set. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, more Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and Scary Stories 3, More Tales to Chill Your Bones. Paperback set is $12.99. This is the one that had those terrifying illustrations in them. When the movie came out a couple of years ago, all the horrible creatures from the stories and how they were designed were based off these really terrifying illustrations. Highly recommend for kids and adults. You may want to read it before you pass it off to a 7-year-old niece and scare the hell out of her, and then her family gets mad at you that you've terrified her and scarred her for life. But great book. I read them when I was young. I have the 25th anniversary edition. Make sure you get the ones. I think they've updated some of the illustrations. You don't want updated illustrations. You want the 1981 scary as hell Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark inspiration. Illustration. Inspiration. You want the inspiration for the illustrations that happened in the movie. Good books. All right, moving on. This is more if you're in the Southeast. These are the original scary stories that I grew up with. 13 Alabama Ghost and Jeffrey by Catherine Tucker Wyndham. It's also a 5-star rated book, but she doesn't just have Alabama. She has Georgia. She has Mississippi. She has Tennessee. She has 13 more Southern Ghost. Classic, almost a gothic feel to these classic Southern stories. And I actually had the pleasure of meeting Catherine Tucker Wyndham about 13, 14 years ago. It was the Telltelling Festival down in Selma, Alabama. I think she was from that area, and I wasn't too far from there. She actually signed my 13 Alabama Ghost and Jeffrey. If you're picking up on the book types that I like, I prefer a collection of scary stories in the book that kind of follows suit with this one and the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark and Nightmares and Dreamscapes. But yeah, 13 Alabama Ghost and Jeffrey. Get the one that suits your state or any of them if you just want a good ghost story to read. Very classic feel to those. Most of hers, if not all of them, are based in historical accounts. One of them, and this is actually a video I just dropped on the YouTube channel, was about the Phantom steamboat of the Tom Bigby, the sinking of the Eliza Battle. First time I heard this story was actually from her book. And it's really cool, really creepy. Let's see what they're going for. $15.85 on Amazon, 13 Alabama Ghost and Jeffrey. There's a couple of used for cheaper, but go ahead and grab you something new. Perfect 5 stars. Awesome job, Miss Tucker Wyndham. I think she passed away a couple of years ago, but great pleasure meeting her and having her sign my book. I'm going to step away more into the strange and the bizarre, not as much ghost, but I actually received this book as a Christmas gift last year and still addicted to it. Love it, especially if you like traveling to weird, new, hidden gems, strange places. The Atlas Obscura, the 2nd edition, New York Times bestseller, perfect 5 stars on Amazon, $23.20 on Amazon Prime. They have some used ones from $10. Get you one that's new though. Great book. It has, I think, just about every country definitely every continent. Well, does it have Antarctica? Probably not. But it's a fantastic read. Colorful pictures in here. And it's fun to go and look towards the areas that you live in, want to travel to. The pictures are really, really good, though. Brings it to life. This is a great book. Probably one of the more expensive ones that I'm going to recommend on this list. But, oh yeah, like Tennessee recommends The Body Farm. That's where, isn't that where the FBI studies decay and how they gauge how long a corpse has been dead and the manner of death, all that? Looks like that's what it is. I don't want to start reading this for you guys before, I'll get lost. We'll never finish this podcast. Atlas Obscura, 2nd edition, phenomenal book. Still read it. All of these books are still in my regular rotation, but that one's great. Again, if you like traveling and exploring the world, and not as much of the ghostly as it is more just strange and unique places. All right, final book that I'm going to say. I actually lied to you. Wanted to add this. Atlas Obscura has a page-a-day calendar coming up for 2024. So I would recommend that to go with the book. There's also a couple other little calendars fit in that same suit, like the History Channel's Unexplained Mysteries, This Day in History, 1,000 Places to See Before You Die. So everybody needs a calendar. Me and some friends just talked about that this morning. Who keeps a calendar? Well, everybody needs to. Great gift. They're cheap, and they can be fun. They're not those old boring flip calendars anymore that have just the vague random pictures. You can actually 365 days of extraordinary destinations, bizarre phenomena, and other hidden wonders. Get something like that. All right, final book I'm going to recommend. My favorite of all time. Did I already call another one a favorite? Because if I did, this may actually be my favorite. Mysteries of the Unexplained. I have to preface this. I read this book in high school. It's a wonderful, wonderful, huge hardback collection of mysterious disappearances, sea creatures, true crime, strange religious phenomena, cryptos, strange things from above. You'll hear those old stories about rain that occurred and it had fish or stones or weird things in it. It's got all that fun stuff in there. Let me give you just an asterisk beside this one. I think they used some liberties in here because I've looked in this for inspiration for podcast topics. And as I read, and I try to study, I don't want to just bullshit you guys. We want to have good, honest conversation here. We want to look at things from a scientific and reasonable perspective, not just throwing out scary stories with no basis. We need a little bit of science in here. Some of them, there was a sinking ship one that nobody was ever found on. I actually was going to do that as a YouTube video before I migrated over to the Eliza battle. And when I was doing my research, it said, often reported in books, this actually didn't happen this way. The ship, only one person perished, and, they found the ship. In the book, it's like, the ship mysteriously disappeared. 80,000 people were dead. It was a little bit generous in their portrayal. It wasn't 80,000 people. But the book otherwise is really fun. Really great book. Really early accounts. Hell, it's almost 50 years old, 40 years old, whatever it may be. Of ghost and crypto, strange disappearances and reappearances of people. But I love it. It's fun. Mysteries of the Unexplained. I believe it was originally a Reader's Digest book. If you remember Reader's Digest, they often published books throughout the year. They had the commercials and were selling those. They have another one I haven't read, Strange Stories, Amazing Facts. I may have to check that one out. These are older books. I'm telling you, though, it's fun. And you can get this one, I believe, pretty cheap. This one is okay. New, it's $33. I lied to you. Buy used on this guy. It's old. And if it's new anyways, I don't see how, because it was published a long time ago. Buy used, $11. That's how I've gotten it. I actually gave my nephew one for Christmas one year. He loves it. Fun book. So I hope that here at the Midnight Dreary, we are able to help you guys on some Christmas shopping. Although these were just books, I think they're always a great gift to anybody in your life who loves the bizarre, the strange, paranormal especially. these are great ways to start. If you guys have any Christmas gifts that you'd like to receive that are in the realm of anything we would chat about here on the Midnight Dreary, hell, you know what? I'm feeling friendly today. If it's just a Christmas gift you would like to receive, tell me what it is. The midnightdreary@yahoo.com. Like I said, this was just a fun off-the-cuff episode. I had been thinking about this, wanted to chat with you guys this week, so I hope you enjoyed my recommendations. Again, want to add to the list? If you want to criticize my list, go ahead. As we wind this one down, please take a moment, guys. Go check out the YouTube channel, the Midnight Dreary 1. Again, that's the number 1 over on YouTube. Like, subscribe. I have tried to get a couple of custom videos up. I have some that I am working on this week that we should be dropping very, very soon. So keep your eyes out for that. We should have another podcast up within the week as well. I'm working on a couple of things here. So we're staying busy, even post-Halloween, post-Thanksgiving, and pre-Christmas. I am keeping the spooky with you. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and we will see you next time on the Midnight Dreary, your rest stop on the highway.
Thanks for stopping by the Midnight Dreary. We'll be open again next week to serve up more drinks and more mysteries. Until then, safe travels.